Now, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome, it's my honor and pleasure to introduce you to our president, Don Betz.
Very well done. Really good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Charlie. That was a terrific presentation. Got me all excited again about all the months of planning that you and your team and all the rest have been involved with. I want to thank Lori Beasley, Dr. Lori Beasley, for interceding again and making this work so well. Our buddies at IT, you're terrific people, and we really appreciate you creating this ambiance for us here today. And special words today, before I get started with my remarks, to my co-conspirator, one of the many on the cabinet, but the first among equals, of course, is the provost. And I think that John Barthel absolutely made it clear today why he is the provost. Someone who is able to encapsulate the spirit and essence of this institution as few can, and combine and connect us so well to the past and at the same time into the future. So help me thank Dr. John Barthel. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2016. It's the year after 2015 and UCO at 125. And before we put 125 to rest, it's a finale and a reprise and a farewell. I ask you to mark this unique moment in our history. It's terrific to think about. Not only are we celebrating 125 years of history, but I think 125 years of relevance. Welcome to UCO at 125. It's about your future, but it's also about our future.
Congratulations on your 125th anniversary.
I don't know.
No pressure.
Because I think we are living through a remarkable time.
With the largest gift in the history of UCO, $10 million.
How do you capture 125 years in a few images?
name has changed throughout the years, we will forever be always Central. Thank you. Of course, the applause is not just for the production, but for the countless hours that were put in over a period of 365 days and more by so many people. My applause goes out to the 125 Steering Committee led by Ann Holzberlein, the Pillars Committee members, so many of you. If you're a Pillars Committee member or a Steering Committee member, would you stand up now so this university community can thank you? Ann, please stand up, and the rest of you. Anybody in the Pillars? Thank you. Thank you all. My thanks also today to Charlie for the presentation on Connect to Central, UCO's branding campaign to meet the challenge of change in an era perhaps unlike any other we have navigated, and to reemphasize the needs and opportunities of the Metro citizens today and into the future. And then John's comments, powerfully reminding us of the role of place in our work and in our lives, and effectively framing as well the Metro initiative for us as we build relationships, participate in, and contribute to the contour and substance of of Oklahoma City's Innovation District, working with the innovation partners, the Brookings Institution, and the Project for Public Spaces. Our Metro efforts are not passing unnoticed or unappreciated. We've enjoyed consistent positive media coverage at a number and frequency not seen before. And at a recent State of the City address that was referenced earlier by John, in front of almost 1,700 that were gathered at the Cox Center, Mayor Cornett offered these remarks.
Around the world, people are noticing that Oklahoma City is changing, and a lot of people apparently like what they see. 40,000 people have moved here since 2010. Virtually any media organizations that looks at cities and starts to look at jobs puts us on the list. At the higher ed level, I want to take a moment to mention our ever-growing relationship with UCO. President Betz and his staff are continuing their commitment to Oklahoma City. You're probably aware of ACM, the School of Rock that they offer downtown. You may be less aware of their new boathouse and jazz lab on the river, or the new downtown MBA program. We are also working with them, and the Brookings Institute are improving our innovation district. And none of these are small endeavors.
So ladies and gentlemen, we were sitting in the back of the cheap seats, right? There were several of us there at the event. Within 15 seconds after those comments, my phone on silent began to vibrate as the texts and tweets came rolling in. Personal comments and individual messages followed for 2 days. And I have to tell you, it was a unique moment. One of our business alums, present at the event, commented later to me that he was smiling when he left, and as he was departing downtown, he passed an E sign on the Broadway extension that boldly declared, "Connect to Central," in bronze and blue. He told me that he was beaming with pride. And it was a great moment, and I think a manifestation of the continuing relevance of what it is that you do to the people that we serve. But here on the main campus, as John was mentioning earlier, we have what can only be described as an historic changing landscape. We are in the midst of substantive change, which began last year and will continue for months and dare say years ahead. Some of the initiatives were highlighted in the renderings that you saw or might have seen when you're standing out in the foyer by the Heritage Room, but I'd like to point out just a few for you today. First and foremost, Old North. Old North, to be reopened to students, to faculty, to classes, to meetings, to visitors by the fall of 2016, and accompanying it, a new West Campus entry. Mitchell Hall, the Backstage Project, You can see by spring of 17, we are going to have an entirely new perspective on Mitchell Hall from its 1926 origins as it extends itself into the center of the campus. The Interdisciplinary STEM Research and Training Center to grow up north of FSI will be, I believe, one of the true jewels in the crown of Oklahoma higher education as your university responds to the articulated need for STEM graduates. We're already responding, but this particular facility is going to extend this directly, and I give great applause to our colleagues in the College of Math and Science, but please understand this is an interdisciplinary opportunity, and we're going to follow it to the greatest possible extent. The Sports Performance Center. Sports Performance Center and an accompanying indoor facility will grow up on the north end of the football field. And the softball complex will also be completed in the coming days. That Sports Performance Center and indoor facility are happening thanks to the great support we've received recently, and I'll comment about that in a moment. A South Campus power plant. We're running out of steam, and we have to have more energy to be able to meet the needs that are standing before us, and that will grow up on the south part of the campus. The College of Liberal Arts will be undertaking renovation expansion plans still in planning, but it's going to provide a brand new view and a brand new opportunity for the thousands of our students that come to that building every day. Murdaugh Hall, infrastructure work in millions of dollars, built in 1936. Murdaugh is a fortress, and we're finding that out as we're trying to alter this grand old lady. But everything needs to be changed out. John was talking about the infrastructure and the wiring, et cetera, the internal skeleton on Old North. It's the same way with Murdaugh, so we will be closing that beloved area for about an academic year, but when we come back around, it's going to be a jewel in the crown, and I am completely convinced it will be there 100 years from now. We're advancing our plans for the creation of a learning commons within Max Chamber Library, a place to gather and to connect and to create and to fulfill opportunities that can come from collaboration. Recent property acquisitions on University Drive, which is highlighted here by a vacant lot. But that lot has looked pretty disheveled for several years now, and goes back, I'm sure, decades in terms of when those buildings were built there. So you will see a parking lot rise there now, and then afterward you will see more opportunity. Same way with work that's been done on Bauman with the A+ schools, and the lease on Bryant with our good colleagues from CC, the Center for E-Learning and Connected Environments. So thanks to the collaborative efforts of Don Crushell, Kevin Freeman, Troy Talley, collaborating with legal counsels Brad Morelli and Beth Kerr on numerous projects, including the acquisition, ladies and gentlemen, of Ayers Avenue. Between University and Chowning, it is now ours. And that piece of real estate will be reconceptualized. We are a divided campus no more. And for those of you that recall very well before we built the Wellness Center, that you literally felt like you were crossing the Rubicon when you went across Ayers. Now the story is much different. And we will take a tremendous long-term view about what Ayers can be and should be, and how it best translates into living, learning, working, and connecting space for the great students we have and for the faculty and staff that we have as well. And while we're talking about these projects, I want to extend a special invitation to you, especially as the weather eventually becomes warmer, is to take a walk by Reflection Park just to the west of Murdaugh and graze through the montage of faces and events that were noted on the video a moment ago. There you see, decade after decade, the woven human tapestry that we call our heritage. To me, it's kind of a never-ending story and a continuing commitment to this place and to the people who have called it home. We've successfully closed the Always Central campaign at the end of 2015, and thank you again, Ann Holzberlein and the team, for having the most outstanding outcome we possibly could have asked for. but the mantle of philanthropy is being shared now, and in a most affirming way. After persistent cultivation and connection building by our athletic director, Joe Mueller, and Ann Holzberlein, and others, 2 former athletes made defining historic contributions to the university and to UCO athletics in our program called Complete the Dream in the past few months. The most recent gift of $1 million, and announced in the late fall, the gift by alum Chad Richardson for $10 million. Their generosity and belief in the mission of UCO and our athletic program, coupled with other individuals making investments in the program, will move the Complete the Dream projects from idea and aspiration to planning and reality. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, UCO coaches, if you're here. Thank you, UCO student athletes. And thank you to all those who believe in the dream and the value of these efforts. It's a truly historic occasion. We have never raised so much money in such a short time, and these people deserve your applause. And you deserve my applause, because our institutional commitment to philanthropy extends well beyond ourselves, and from UCO into the community, and it's highlighted in many ways. In one way, by UCO's active participation in Central Oklahoma's United Way. This past year, UCO was asked to captain the campaign among all educational institutions, K-12, career tech, and higher education. Our thanks and appreciation to Dr. Martha Brennan for coordinating our on-campus efforts. UCO raised the largest amount among all educational entities and had the most donors and the most donors per capita. We assisted the overall campaign to achieve its ambitious goal of $21,600,000 in a year when some of the traditional largest supporters scaled back their participation due to current economic challenges. But my sincere thanks go out to the nearly 500 of you who contributed via one-time donation or payroll deduction, who organized an event, who provided food for a potluck lunch, who held a fundraising activity or otherwise helped in this effort that supports 61 agencies in the metro and abroad. Congratulations to all of you. I thank you so much for your participation. You need to know that UCO is becoming widely recognized as a valued community citizen. And in 2014 and 2015, your university was named a top Oklahoma workplace by The Oklahoman, the only university or college on their list. Congratulations. Over the past few months, I and others have been updating you here in the campus community on changes in the current budget and the overall financial landscape. In the closing days of 2015, the state declared a revenue failure for the second half of FY16, which is from January until June 30th. This amounts to a 3% annualized cut, which becomes a 6% reduction in the monthly state support over the remaining 6 months of the fiscal year. UCO's monthly reduction is $214,000. At this time, we are covering this shortfall from our reserves and not extending it out to any of the colleges or to the units. The total cut for the remainder of FY16 is $1.2 million. Now, at the outset of FY16 last July, our state support was reduced by 3.5%, or $1.66 million, for a reduction in state support over the whole year of about $3 million thus far. FY17, the State Equalization Board, in December, they projected a $900 million shortfall. Now, the analysts on this campus and others think that the actual amount is likely more because that projection did not consider the one-time funding sources used last year. Wide-ranging figures have been quoted by various officials. We know from the State Equalization Board, we will know by mid-February what the actual projection shortfall will be. We suspect it will be over $1 billion. We anticipate at least one more reduction in support this year. The State Regents for Higher Education's budget proposal this year, for the first time in my memory, is a flat funding proposal for higher education. No increase at all over last year, but with a side attachment requesting funds to cover mandatory costs up to $22 million. All of our conversations with decision makers and analysts confirm the obvious. Higher education will not be held harmless in FY17's budget creation, and for the state to be able to balance its shrinking budget as it must do by law. The actual shortfall in state revenue and corresponding decrease in state support for higher education is unknown today, but it's assured it will happen. So, what will be the impact on UCO, on our students, and I'm sure, as you're thinking right now, on us and on you? So what does it mean for our new initiatives, for current and planned projects? Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know at this time we are not taking precipitous action. We are not making any a priori reductions or curtailing existing programs. We are deeply reviewing our programs, our projects, and personnel requirements. We have and will continue to reduce travel expenditures, and we've talked about that already. We're not cutting out travel, we're not stopping travel, but we're going to trim and the kind of things you would do in your own household. And we will be reviewing and trimming our memberships, our subscriptions at all levels, with a clear focus on the essentials related to student success. And as we approach the challenges presented by this continuing decline in state support, we will start from the premise of our focus on that student success and on the salience of the academic program, the nucleus of our institution. We will be, as the card said that we sent to you, both steadfast and innovative and adaptive to meet the complex needs and requirements of those we serve. Possible tuition and fee increases for the next few years will be impacted by public and political perceptions and by the appreciation or lack thereof of higher education's indispensable role in building a diversified, resilient economy for the future of the state. And as many of you know, we're also in an election year which will influence the calculus and variables at play. Over the past weeks, we have met with and have heard from a broad assortment of Oklahoma and Oklahoma City Metro legislators. We are soberly aware of the financial constraints that they and we now face. But there appears to be broad, solid support for what we do and for the roles that we play in connecting with partners in the Metro in order to meet citizens' educational needs and aspirations, and also support for the competencies, attitudes, and behaviors we strive to promote that employers tell us are most valued in their employees and those that make most promising entrepreneurs. The messages that we are receiving from those who represent us is that we are a recognized and appreciated asset and an ally in intentionally crafting the future. So here we are, surrounded by change, and not all of it is positive and affirming. It's become clearer with each year and each budget cycle that we are moving over time, but inexorably away from being a state-funded institution. An historic and regrettable transition continues to proceed as we proceed from being a state-funded to a state-assisted and, yes, a state-located institution. With the projected FY17 budget reduction, the state of Oklahoma will provide less than 25% of UCO's overall budget, including our auxiliary services. So there are fundamental questions here, fundamental questions that will emerge as we contest about the budget. There are those that are requesting or asking about the value and utility of higher education. And is public education a private gain or a public good? Well, we've embraced the community building and sustaining nature of public higher education here since the first classes were held in the Territorial Normal School. These students, our fellow citizens, come to us to build their capacities, to fulfill their dreams, and in the process, to build the state. They are Oklahoma's future and our community's most sustainable asset. They are that public good which is fundamental to the vitality of a vibrant economy, a just, inclusive society, and a flourishing democracy. They are lifelong learners and givers, caring for families, communities, state, and country. Their development surpasses any single factor in creating and sustaining genuine prosperity to provide opportunities for all. UCO is a direct contributor to the Metro and the state's quality of life. Here, we are committed to encouraging and harnessing our creativity via collaboration, commitment, and planning. Our role in this place matters. So in that spring invitation card we passed out, we said that we were steadfast and innovative and adaptable. And when the tempest of our time subsides, when the dust settles, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be on the side of the road, nor in the ditch. We will be here, adapted to the community's needs and guided in these efforts by a mission, a plan, and the counsel that we afford one another. We are realistic optimists, driven by our mission and our belief in the efficacy of what we do to enhance student success. And as JFK advised us a while ago, we are those idealists with no illusions. We are being recognized as innovative, adaptable partners in crafting the future of the Metro. Sometimes we follow, sometimes we lead, from the front, from behind, and in the midst of others. But amid this dissonance and discord that characterize this contemporary political environment, I believe that we offer a clarifying experience focused beyond the obvious on the search for meaning and purpose and the development of personal values and civic culture. Investment in the stewardship of place makes sense. We are growing the next cadre of public servants, civically attentive citizens. And the students are our co-conspirators in this societal service. They teach and they learn, and we learn and we teach. And we here, I believe, share a common focus, a personal, persistent imperative for rising as early as we do, for committing the days and nights and weekends of our lives to advancing the power of learning and demonstrating its relevance to our students. We do this so that lives can be enriched and communities prosper. We here at UCO are a welcoming port of entry for first-generation students, be she 18 or recently 82 years old or 82 years young. We at UCO have been educating people in the territory and the state of Oklahoma since the 1890s, and yet this fall, about 42% of our entering students were the first in their families ever to attend college. So let us not be defined by others. Let's abandon any defensive posture that finds us reacting to the latest pejorative critique of higher education. Let's continue to actively nurture the culture that educates workforce and citizens, entrepreneurs and great neighbors and parents, that links opportunities offered by a college degree to the corresponding spirit of public service and civic virtue that has underpinned American society since the days of Alexis de Tocqueville. We must remain the gathering place for our community and its citizens, for those who live and work close by, for those concerned about the present and troubled by the uncertain future that seems to swirl around them. We're a place to learn and to live, for self-discovery aided by effective mentoring, and for pushing beyond the fleeting encounter to become an engaged member of an emerging, diverse community, a place where virtues and values inform our choices and create meaningful personal pathways. You know, I believe that UCO is one of those affirming, restorative way stations for thousands on a personal trek to their future. Our message and mission have been displayed in what we do, but I also believe it's displayed in who we are. Those values and those virtues have marked unique communities throughout history, and I am confident that we are committed to the virtues of modeling the way and championing values that shape lives. Among those values are those eulogy virtues that David Brooke writes about, those virtues of authenticity and integrity, of selflessness and compassion, of tolerance and service, of kindness and honor and duty, the characteristics that shine through when we define a thoroughly good person. So amid this swirl and trepidation of our era, we affirm why we are here. We're offering stability and flexibility amid incessant change. We're encouraging imagination and creativity and innovation in the next generation of citizens and leaders. UCO's role is fundamentally important to Oklahoma, and I believe that most of us here at UCO are here because we believe deep inside that this university enriches, extends, and liberates people's lives, as I told you once before, from the demons of ignorance and ugliness, from prejudice, from despair, and from ill health. We are one of those society compasses, highlighting true north amid an abundance of shrill claims and false echoes. Much of what happens here daily depends on you, depends on us, depends on the weather we create. Our warmth and our competence, our student-centered actions and attitudes make this university a valued asset in the lives of real people and communities and in the state. Our institutional cultural attributes are among the values and practices that separate us from others. So though some of the days are more than challenging, we have good fortune during our time on this planet to serve each in our own unique manner, to advance the human condition, one learner, one community, one state at a time. We know why we show up every day, to offer an environment for personal and societal transformation, to educate for relevance and success in a world of unscripted problems, and to fulfill the destiny of this place. We do this for them. We do this for us. And we do this together. This enduring sense of purpose I find every time I walk into the College of Education, where there on a plaque is the saying from the Hebrew fathers from the 2nd century AD. We are not required to finish the work, nor we are at liberty to neglect it. And we won't, thanks to you. Welcome to 2016. Thank you.